I guess you just gotta either believe I'm gonna do it or not. I can promise you all day long, just like everybody else has done, that I'm gonna finish it, but in the end, you just gotta see what I've done already, see what I'm doing, and then have faith of, what's going to come down the road.
I want to preface this video with a few points. First, this video is not meant to defame the developer or Day of Dragons in any way. Second, I want to let it be known that I had personally reached out to Jo, the developer of Day of Dragons, to do an interview with the objective to have him address the concerns that have arisen from many people in the community in a factual and civilized way. Jo declined, stating he would rather do that with someone who supported the game like Anthomnia or Syntac. It would have been very helpful for everyone to have him address this directly, as he could clear up misunderstandings, provide proof, and establish trust between himself and the supporters or non-supporters, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how he responds to all of this. Guys, my goal is not to destroy Day of Dragons. I have no reason to, and I would gain nothing from it. If anything, I would be very happy to see the thing succeed and be what everyone wants it to be. I am just concerned, like many others, from the lack of evidence, miscommunications, unprofessionalism, and everything else that ties into the questionable events that have unfolded since the beginning of the Kickstarter campaign. I will try to tie this all together as neatly as possible, but bear with me, as I don't typically do videos like this. I'm going to present to you the evidence via screenshots, voice clips, and whatever I can to support the findings. Feel free to take in all the evidence to make your own opinion about the game and how to handle these kind of situations in the future. Again, this is not me saying the game is a scam or anything of the sort. I am simply putting out public information, and you can take that all in however you please. We do, however, need to be able to ask questions and think critically before we start throwing money at people making potentially empty promises. Anyway, let's begin. Day of Dragons is supposed to be a multiplayer dragon survival simulation game where you begin as a hatchling, learn to fly, and all types of dragon stuff. Hunger, thirst, other hostile dragons are all supposed to be part of the experience. If you've played The Isle, you can tell that this game is heavily influenced by it. The Kickstarter campaign for Day of Dragons started on September the 2nd, 2019 by Be Awesome Games. The campaign ran from the 2nd until the 30th of September with an initial goal of $12,000. By the end of the campaign, it had raised over $530,000, and there are many reasons to be concerned. The demo tied in with the Kickstarter campaign is a 100% asset flipped demo thrown together to show what the game could look like. If you don't know what asset flip means, it just means that the developer purchased a bunch of pre-made assets from the marketplace, put it all in the engine, and made a game out of it. And that's what we saw and currently see. Said tech demo is bare bones with no functionality, no game mechanics implemented, not even sound. The Kickstarter contained absolutely zero original concept art, no screenshots of work-in-progress code, 3D models, or anything to show for the game, even though it had supposedly been in development for 2 years prior. The developer Jo is a ghost with no evidence of prior expertise other than his word. No social media, no LinkedIn page, nothing to prove he has the capabilities of providing what he's selling. Be Awesome Games is not a registered business in the state of Ohio. On their Discord server during the campaign, Jo was sharing unlicensed concept art, implying that they are already in the works or already in the game, ultimately misleading supporters and potential supporters on the quality of the game that didn't even exist. And those are just a few of the issues with the campaign. What followed after gets really good. Despite an initial goal of $12,000 and Jo saying he would release the game as is regardless of funding, he began adding extra slots for tiers that sold out, discussing selling majority of the promised 30 dragons as DLC for $5 to $10 per dragon, setting up pre-purchases for the asset flip demo on Steam, and talking about selling merchandise without even having a single official piece of concept art up until now. Jo and his mod team on Discord seem to have a zero-tolerance rule for anyone who questions the legitimacy of himself or the game, and has banned many people in relation to this, including one of their own mods, who also got their beta access to the game revoked. Jo refuses to do things like dev streams or show proof of his code, despite being a seasoned programmer, out of the fear that someone might steal it. A Linux version of the Steam build was unpacked, showing that there were only 4 lines of custom code in the entire game, and that it was 100% blueprint functioning. There's so much to all of this, and I cannot possibly break it all down in this video. A lot of what has happened and what is currently happening is available on a Google Doc that has been shared around, which Jo and the mods will ban you for if mentioned on the Discord server, so be careful. I highly recommend that you take the time to look at that document. Link is down in the description. Now, I was actually originally given a key to play the game, but when I didn't make a video on it, it was then revoked to be used for other content creators to make content to push the Kickstarter further. When I reached out to Jo to have the interview that I told you about, he inquired about me having access to the game, and when I told him I no longer had it, he said, "That sucks." So, the tech demo for Day of Dragons that you've seen streamers and YouTubers play is, once again, 100% asset flipped. Aside from some HUD elements, there is no core gameplay, no drinking water, eating food, PvP, PvE. I mean, it doesn't even have sound. It features store-bought dragons placed into a store-bought terrain package and even into a pre-created example map that came with the store-bought terrain package itself. I'll link directly to the assets used in the demo in the description for you to see. This demo does not show any programming or artistry ability, so we really can, at this point, completely disregard the demo as nothing more than a mock-up or concept art, right? Like how when someone is designing a website or a UI system, they would put together a mock-up to show what it could be. That's essentially what it is, a mock-up. So what's left after that? We take it away and all we have is a basic idea for a game that could be made, and the promises with nothing to back them up. We don't even have any evidence that Jo can develop a game of this scope due to his secrecy and ghostly presence online. This is the immediate concern, and it's very important for everyone to understand the depth of this and start keeping it in your minds when you think about Day of Dragons. One of the biggest problems I have with platforms like Kickstarter is that you can sell an idea so well that people would be willing to give you money, and a lot of it, even if you have nothing to show for it, and have no proof that you can even accomplish the goal. This sets a very bad precedent, and it's undeniably important that this is addressed. The last thing that we need is a bunch of bad eggs seeing this and thinking that they can turn over assets and make a fortune, and then just dip. Again, I'm not saying that's what's happening with Day of Dragons. I am simply saying that this can set that kind of example. Now, relating to the demo, I have found it interesting that anytime a YouTuber or streamer would say things like, "Wow, these animations are amazing," and you're saying they're just placeholders? Or, "This already looks so amazing for being so early in development." He never establishes that they are marketplace assets, and that neither he nor his team made anything you see in this demo. They let it slide as if they're taking in compliments. They don't correct it and let them continue thinking otherwise. This kind of response, or lack thereof, just pushes this false idea that the game is well made and very far into development, when, as far as the public knows, it isn't. As I mentioned, Jo, during the campaign, would promote unlicensed concept art made by Jia Hao, who is amazing, by the way, make sure to check them out, who has since been hired on as the concept artist and modeler for the game. Jo states that he couldn't pay Jia until October of 2019, so during the entire campaign, the art being shown was not licensed and not made specifically for Day of Dragons in the first place. Showing these off in the manner that he did, saying, "This guy for so-and-so, this one for this place," is unbelievably misleading and gave off all the wrong impressions of where the game is and the quality to come. I can't even imagine how many supporters gave money in direct response to seeing those, which were at the time unlicensed pieces of art. In a Q&A section on their Discord, this question arose asking about the marketplace dragons and map. The response raises many concerns, especially about the newfound money-grubbing mindset the project took on, but specifically the statement that the dragons were made for the game and were licensed. Licensed, sure, but they were not made for the game, and Jo admits to them being 100% store-bought, but they're just placeholders. Also, that the real map was in development, even though Jo stated in interviews that he wants to keep the environment as is, which is store-bought, rather than spending money on a custom one. Despite this inconsistency, we also see Jo saying things like, "I never said the map was 100% complete, and the map is the finished product." I think what Jo means is that the trees, ground textures, etc. will remain store-bought, but he will make custom maps out of them. Now, after a user unpacked the project from a Linux build on Steam, it was revealed that the current demo, that supposedly has been in development for 2 years, has only 4 lines of code, custom code, and they aren't used in any way. The game is run entirely on blueprints, which is strange coming from a self-proclaimed well-versed programmer. With that said, the fact that J.O. has openly said he is not hiring another programmer for the game and that he'll do it all himself is a bit alarming. We have no evidence that he can program, as the unpacking of this game build suggests. Yet he is responsible for making this massive game function even with networking. The inconsistencies in statements made by J.O. and the team are all over the place. Look, it's no mystery that J.O. is a mystery. He's basically a ghost online and doesn't have any social media associated with his work. Not even a LinkedIn page that anyone can find to verify his credentials. He is supposedly a seasoned programmer and has worked in law enforcement, but I guess we'll have to take his word on that for now. J.O. says he wouldn't want to do things like dev streams because he wouldn't want people watching him work, or that he doesn't want anyone to see his code, perhaps out of fear someone might steal it. Regardless of reasoning, legitimate or not, this does not and should not reside well with the community, especially those who gave their money to him. It's hard enough to put faith into a Kickstarter project at all, let alone one that keeps everything private and won't even do dev streams to prove their work to those who may have concerns of legitimacy. Now, of course, developers don't have to do dev streams, but considering how many people are concerned about this, J.O. still refuses to very easily lay to rest the concerns people have by providing even the mildest form of proof. People have given you money for your future success with the game. The least you can do is show that you're actually working on something. There is new concept art now, by the way, made for Day of Dragons, but it honestly doesn't show any progress other than the fact that J.O. was able to reach out to an artist and get concept art done. Again, that's not much progress, let alone 2 years of development, and it doesn't still prove that J.O. can actually carry out the tasks needed for this game. Now, the term money grubbing sounds awful, but it really doesn't mean more than wanting more money. Listen to this.
Textured, animated, the sound effects, particle effects, the visual effects, all that stuff. When it's all totaled up, it's going to be about $10,000 each. So the 30 dragons, there's 300,000 of the 500,000 in Kickstarter funding. The soundtrack's $30,000, so it's actually over 30,000, more like $35,000. So there's $335,000 right there, and that's just for the dragons and the soundtrack. On top of that, you have lawyers, taxes, accountant, that all want money. So when you total all of that up together, and not counting the expense, the money I've already put into the game, the taxes, that's going to be about 30%. So how much money do I have left after I pay for all this stuff? Not very much. And then once I put the game on Steam, Steam's going to take a 30% cut right off the top. The government's going to take another 30%, and then you got sales tax on top of that I have to pay. Per sale, I'm going to get maybe $6 to $8 maybe for every $20 copy that's sold. There's still other expenses and costs. So who's out there calling me a money grubber?
That clip you just heard was recorded not by me during a group call initiated by J.O. in order to answer questions. Now, the Kickstarter only asked for $12K originally, and J.O. claims he never asked for more. It's kinda odd to be saying games cost money and that $500,000 is going to go really quick. 30 dragons in this game is a choice, and using that money up for that is also a choice. It seems disingenuous to make these statements and using that as a reason to dismiss the idea that maybe he's looking for more money. It's also very strange that J.O. has gone on record multiple times talking about lawyers, saying that they may be needed and need to be paid because this large amount of money would cause people to potentially sue. What would they sue for? Possibly to get their money back? There's a lot of talk of slander as well relating to what I'm talking about and the document that surrounds all of this information in the Discord server. Perhaps the lawyers are also to sue people. Who knows? Anyway, J.O. himself stated he was going to release the game regardless of funding. So from what is gathered, a dragon called the Acid Spitter comes automatically for free when you purchase the game on Steam, regardless of whether or not you supported the Kickstarter. But for the ones who supported on Kickstarter, the Acid Spitter does not come free. You have to pay an extra $9.99 to unlock that dragon, regardless if you pledged hundreds of dollars on the Kickstarter campaign. That's a pretty good looking microtransaction. Speaking of, there are said to be 30 dragons in the game, many of which will be put out as DLC, which will be $5 to $10 per dragon even after the purchase cost of the game. There is a lot of money to be made, and it would be strange to think that it isn't happening because of the massive amount of money already funded. The more you make, the more you want, they say. It is absolutely fine to say that it's a natural thing that when the project blew up, the scope of the game for JO broadened. Due to what JO stated in the call, it is not illogical to think that the microtransactions are a way to make up for the loss in making a much higher quality game. I don't dismiss that possibility, but a lot of choices are being made with the money that are not necessary and 100% JO's choice, and it honestly seems fairly greedy. And here you can see he definitely is taking offense to being called greedy or money grubbing. He makes a firm stance to deny that, and while it's easy to say you aren't, your actions speak volumes. The campaign was originally $12K, but after it blew up, he stated he would be giving unreleased sounds and animations to a few content creators to show off for a final push of the Kickstarter. Again, he was going to release the game regardless of funding. When the money started pouring in, the want for more was stronger than ever. And here you can see that over time, once the Kickstarter blew up and tiers were sold out, he would add higher limits for the tiers and announced it with the words, "to help reach this goal." There is nothing wrong with pushing the campaign, don't get me wrong, but please do not deny that you wanted more money when the project started blowing up. There is also talk of merchandise, as you can see here. T-shirts for $19 when at the time, there wasn't even official concept art. They did say this is planned for after the release, but it's very interesting you say you're not asking for more money, but have already begun planning many ways to make more. There is a lot of money to be made with the things you are throwing out there, I promise you. Hop onto the Day of Dragons Discord server and ask a question about the legitimacy of the game or raise a concern about any of the few points I've already presented. You'll be treated more than likely with hostility, not only from the staff, but the supporters as well, even JO himself. Now, he openly invites people to ask questions to him or the mods and admins.
I'm here for you guys. You know, if you guys have concerns, somebody calls me out on something, let's talk about it. Why don't they come to my Discord, get in a chat channel with me and talk to me face to face, man to man, or man to woman, whatever they are. Let's talk about this. You want to say my game's a scam? You want to go ahead and call me out? Well, I can call you guys out.
But unless they have to do with future plans regarding more skin-deep things like mechanics, types of dragons, etc., you're going to get a very negative and often aggressive response.
More of a concern, actually. You say that the dragons that you have included in your game are custom for your game, but they're store-bought assets.
It's not a scam. I didn't, put 2 years of my life into this thing so I could scam people.
But what have you been working on for story?
I mean, I'm sure the 2 years included the coding of the game.
Unless there is stuff that has not been shown, as far as coding wise, all of the coding in the game right now could be.
Who are you? But if you don't mind me asking,
it doesn't matter who I am. I'm not the focus.
Who you are. If you've coded before, that means you're part of some other project.
I don't need you to believe me or not.
Why so hostile? Whoever's asking the question.
And I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not here to be interrogated by other developers making other games. Community people, if you all have legitimate concerns, I'm here to answer them.
He has banned numerous people from the server for raising legitimate questions, doxing them in the way of showing everyone what other Discord servers they are a part of and their Discord tag, perhaps hoping to send out a witch hunt, reinforcing a strange zero-tolerance rule for anyone who may even indirectly suggest that the game is questionable. A moderator and game admin on their server spoke out against this behavior and was subsequently banned. Not demoted, banned completely. JO is enabling this cult-like mentality, stating here, "So if you hear anyone say we are using marketplace dragons, what are you all going to tell them?" Very strange behavior to be encouraging supporters and anyone in the Discord server to immediately dismiss legitimate concern about the placeholders or anything regarding the game, regardless of context or substance. The Q&A sections of the server have also been filtered out, so they only answer the most upvoted questions. So most of the ones about the legitimacy of the game, the placeholders, or any other kind of concern are pretty much drowned out. Even further than that, questions that do not pertain to current development will be deleted, or if they believe that it is a known no. You can no longer ask any questions about the Kickstarter campaign. There were original Q&A text channels, one for questions, one for answers. They have since been removed, but before that, there were legitimate questions being asked, and they were actually getting responses, as you can see here. Everything is being filtered. Jo in general seems to be very unaware of how unprofessional he acts in public. Targeting and banning people in front of his supporters for questioning anything seems to be nothing more than a power play and or silencing tactic. Jo being on the defense constantly and reacting poorly seems to cause his supporters to become more upset than usual and almost always jump on anyone who has anything negative to say about the game or him. Jo also makes very egotistical statements like this, talking down other Kickstarter campaigns and claiming that he gives way more than the others. There is also a written summary of a recent call where Jo answered people's questions. You've heard some audio clips from this call, and I will link that down in the description below where you can hear it in full. The summary was written by a supporter, which left out a lot of the parts where people spoke out and asked legitimate questions. This is now the go-to document for answers to common questions, all except, of course, the important ones pertaining to legitimacy. All in all, it doesn't take long to see just how unprofessional this whole thing is. I promise you, go to the Discord server, search for messages from Jo himself, and have a look. Now, I think it's time to be honest with ourselves and Jo and ask the real questions. Why does your game only contain 4 lines of custom code and utilize blueprints when you say you're a seasoned programmer and the game has been in development for 2 years? And because you've chosen to be the only programmer and you have not shown that you can do it at all, how can we trust you'll deliver with what you promise? You say you've been working on the game for 2 years, then why can't we see any work in progress stuff from that time period and only get shown artwork from newly hired individuals after the Kickstarter campaign? Where's the stuff you've been working on this whole time when all that is in the current demo is just store-bought assets? And why, when we ask these questions in your Discord server, where you openly invite everyone to do you then either silence by banning, call us trolls, or direct us to a document that has very vague answers? Do you think it's a good idea to be so secretive with your work, even after you've just been funded over $500,000 of supporter money? Do you not think the supporters deserve to see what they have put their money into? These are very important questions, and there are so many more to ask. Oh, and if you're a YouTuber or streamer who might interview Jo, like he said he would, to clear the air about anything mentioned in this video or the document, be sure to ask him the real questions while you have them. You're already in a very bad spot in many people's eyes, and you need to understand that even though you have many supporters, you have no idea how many people do not respect anything that you're doing. We just want to know that we can trust in you to deliver after your dream has been substantially funded. We need more than your word, we need proof. Prove it to us. It's so easy, we're not asking for a lot. I really want to make it clear that I want nothing more than for us to be wrong about all of this, and that it's just a matter of Jo being very inexperienced. If the game does turn out to be everything we expect, and people are hired and getting everything done, then I will be happy, as will many who are concerned right now. We want this to be a thing. We just don't have much to go off of, if anything at all. And the more that is uncovered, the more we all keep asking questions. Now, to the people watching, please do not go and witch hunt. I do not have any respect for that kind of behavior. I expect nothing more than for you, as a supporter of Day of Dragons, to take this all in and ask the real questions. You giving your money to a man with a dream and nothing to show does no good for anyone but the man with the dream. It sets a bad precedent, and it enables this kind of mentality where one might think they could spend the least amount of time on a project and turn a massive profit, crutching on an idea that sounds appealing. An idea can always sound amazing to anyone hopeful enough. Again, the Google document outlining a lot of the key points in this video and more is in the description. Read through. Now, if you are currently supporting or you have considered supporting Day of Dragons, I implore you to wait until you get enough evidence that this thing is actually in development and not just an asset flipped game. If these questions can be answered legitimately and with evidence, then I would say support. In the meantime, there are other Dragon games in development. I'll link some of those down below. And if you haven't picked up on it, the gameplay that you have been seeing throughout this entire video is not Day of Dragons. This was thrown together in a few days by Icy Caress himself, without having any prior experience in Unreal Engine game development. It's called Dawn O' Dragons, and if you want to play it yourself, you can do so for free. Link is down below. Go ahead and get your dragon fill for free while we wait for answers. That sucks.